Ethan had spent his entire life inside a strange room. The room had no windows, no visible doors, only a giant wall in front of him. And on that wall, shadows kept moving endlessly. They showed people becoming rich, becoming famous, winning admiration, competing, celebrating success, and constantly running towards something. Since childhood, Ethan had watched these shadows every single day. He had never seen anything beyond them. So naturally, he believed that the shadows were a reality. They silently taught him what life meant. They told him that success was money, happiness was recognition, and worth was measured by how much others admired you. So Ethan spent years chasing what the shadows showed him. He worked harder, ran faster, compared himself constantly with others, and whenever he achieved something, he felt happy for only a moment. Soon, another shadow would appear, something bigger, better, farther away, and again he would run after it. But slowly, a strange feeling began growing inside him. Despite all the effort, something felt empty. He could not explain it. He had everything he was told to want, yet he felt as if something important was missing. One day, Ethan noticed a tiny crack beside the wall. It was so small that he had never paid attention to it before. But through that crack came a thin beam of light. Curious, he reached toward it and pushed. Slowly, the wall opened. A flood of bright light entered the room. Ethan immediately covered his eyes. It hurt. The darkness had felt familiar, comfortable, safe. The light felt harsh and disturbing. But after some time, Ethan looked again, and what he saw changed everything. Outside, he saw trees moving with the wind. He heard birds singing. He saw children laughing and sunlight spreading across the world. For the first time in his life, he saw reality beyond the shadows. And suddenly, a painful realization struck him. The shadows were never life itself. They were only reflections. Then another thought hit him even harder. The room had never truly trapped him. The door had always existed. He had simply never looked for it. Years later, Ethan returned to the room and looked at the people still staring at the wall. He wanted to shake them and say, "Stop running, stop chasing, turn around." But then he noticed something that silenced him. He saw himself in them. He remembered the years he had spent chasing approval, comparison, and endless goals. He remembered believing that happiness was always somewhere ahead, one achievement away, one success away, one more step away. And then he understood something that changed everything. The shadows were not the real prison. The real prison was the belief that, I will finally be happy when I get the next thing. Because that is how many people spend their lives, running toward a future moment, while missing the life happening right in front of them. Ethan looked outside at the sunlight and smiled. For the first time, he realized that freedom was never about escaping the room. Freedom began the moment he stopped asking, "What else do I need to become enough?" and started asking, "What if I already am?" And perhaps that is the question every person must eventually face, because the cave is not only a place, it is a mindset. It is every belief that keeps us trapped in comparison, fear, and endless dissatisfaction. Today, many people live in their own versions of the cave. Some are trapped by social media, some by society's expectations, some by the pressure to prove their worth, and some by the quiet voice inside them that says they are never enough. We keep chasing likes, praise, money, status, and recognition, thinking they will finally complete us. But like the shadows on the wall, they disappear the moment we reach them. And then another shadow appears, and then another. That is why so many people feel exhausted, even after achieving what they wanted. Because the problem was never just the goal. The problem was the belief that the goal would save them. Plato's Allegory of the Cave teaches us that real freedom begins when we stop confusing shadows with reality. It begins when we question what we have been taught to value. It begins when we step out of borrowed beliefs and start seeing life for ourselves. And yes, that journey can be painful, because truth is not always comfortable. It can shake our identity. It can disturb our habits. It can even make us feel alone. But it also gives us something shadows never can: clarity, peace, and a deeper sense of meaning. The real challenge is not just leaving the cave. It is choosing to stay awake after you leave. It is learning to live in the sunlight without running back to the wall. It is understanding that your worth was never meant to be earned through endless proving. You do not become enough someday. You begin by realizing that you already are. And maybe that is the most important lesson of all. Not that the world is false, but that the way we often see it is incomplete. Not that success is useless, but that it is not the source of your value. Not that ambition is wrong, but that ambition without awareness becomes another shadow. So the next time you feel yourself running after something, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this truly my path, or just another shadow on the wall? Because once you begin asking that question, the cave can never fully hold you again.